Hi everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today's video is about the 5 most famous and successful military generals of history. Let's begin. Introducing Napoleon. Napoleon Bonaparte, born on the 15th of August 1769, later known by his regnal name Napoleon I, was a Corsican-born French military commander and political leader who rose to prominence during the French Revolution and led successful campaigns during the Revolutionary Wars. He was the de facto leader of the French Republic as first consul from 1799 to 1804, then Emperor of the French from 1804 until 1814, and again in 1815. Napoleon was born on the island of Corsica not long after its annexation by France to a native family descending from minor Italian nobility. Napoleon invaded the Iberian Peninsula and declared his brother Joseph the King of Spain in 1808. The Spanish and the Portuguese revolted in the Peninsular War aided by a British army, culminating in defeat for Napoleon's marshals. Napoleon launched an invasion of Russia in the summer of 1812. The resulting campaign witnessed the catastrophic retreat of Napoleon's Grand Army. Napoleon escaped in February 1815 and took control of France. The Allies responded by forming a 7th coalition, which defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo in June 1815. The British exiled him to the remote island of St. Helena in the Atlantic, where he died in 1821 at the age of 51. Upon graduating in September 1785, Bonaparte was commissioned as second lieutenant in La Fère Artillery Regiment. The French army carried out Bonaparte's plan in the Battle of Seorgio in April 1794 and then advanced to seize Ormia in the mountains. From Ormia, they headed west to outflank the Austro-Sardinian positions around Seorge. Napoleon instituted various reforms, such as higher education, a tax code, road and sewer systems, and established the Banque de France, the first central bank in French history. Weapons and other kinds of military technology remained static through the Revolutionary and Napoleonic eras, but 18th-century operational mobility underwent change. Napoleon and Marie-Louise remained married until his death, though she did not join him in exile on Elba and thereafter never saw her husband again. The couple had one child, Napoleon Francis Joseph Charles. Coming up next is Julius Caesar. Gaius Julius Caesar, born on the 12th of July 100 BC, was a Roman general and statesman. A member of the First Triumvirate, Caesar led the Roman armies in the Gallic Wars before defeating his political rival Pompey in a civil war, and subsequently became dictator from 49 BC until his assassination in 44 BC. He played a critical role in the events that led to the demise of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. In 60 BC, Caesar, Crassus, and Pompey formed the First Triumvirate, an informal political alliance that dominated Roman politics for several years. Their attempts to amass power as populares were opposed by the Optimates within the Roman Senate, among them Cato the Younger with the frequent support of Cicero. He gave citizenship to many residents of far regions of the Roman Republic. He initiated land reform and support for veterans. He centralized the bureaucracy of the Republic and was eventually proclaimed dictator for life. Gaius Julius Caesar was born into a patrician family, the gens Julia, which claimed descent from Julius, son of the legendary Trojan prince Aeneas, supposedly the son of the goddess Venus. In 85 BC, Caesar's father died suddenly, making Caesar the head of the family at the age of 16. His coming of age coincided with the civil wars of his uncle Gaius Marius and his rival Lucius Cornelius Sulla. On the way across the Aegean Sea, Caesar was captured by pirates and held prisoner. He maintained an attitude of superiority throughout his captivity. The pirates demanded a ransom of 20 talents of silver, but he insisted that they ask for 50. Caesar was relaxed and familiar with his captors, and joked that after his release he would raise a fleet, pursue and capture the pirates, and crucify them while alive. After his ransom was paid, he fulfilled this promise in full, apart from one detail. As a sign of leniency, he first had their throats cut. He was soon called back into military action in Asia. In 60 BC, Caesar sought election as consul for 59 BC, along with 2 other candidates. The election was sordid. Even Cato, with his reputation for incorruptibility, is said to have resorted to bribery in favor of one of Caesar's opponents. Caesar won, along with conservative Marcus Bibulus. When Caesar was first elected, the aristocracy tried to limit his future power by allotting the woods and pastures of Italy rather than the governorship of a province, as his military command duty after his year in office was over. Caesar had 4 legions under his command, 2 of his provinces bordered on unconquered territory, and parts of Gaul were known to be unstable. Some of Rome's Gallic allies had been defeated by their rivals at the Battle of Magetobriga with the help of a contingent of Germanic tribes. The Romans feared these tribes were preparing to migrate south, closer to Italy, and that they had warlike intent. Caesar raised 2 new legions and defeated these tribes. Though the Gallic tribes were just as strong as the Romans militarily, the internal division among the Gauls guaranteed an easy victory for Caesar. Vercingetorix's attempt in 52 BC to unite them against Roman invasion came too late. He proved an astute commander, defeating Caesar at the Battle of Gergovia, but Caesar's elaborate siege works at the Battle of Alesia finally forced his surrender. The history of Caesar's political appointments is complex and uncertain. Caesar held both the dictatorship and the tribunate, but alternated between the consulship and the proconsulship. Julius Caesar was the first historical Roman to be officially deified. He was posthumously granted the title Divus Iulius by decree of the Roman Senate on the 1st of January 42 BC. Up next is Arthur Wellesley, the 1st Duke of Wellington. Arthur Wellesley, 1st Duke of Wellington, KG, born on the 1st of May 1769, was an Anglo-Irish soldier and Tory statesman who was one of the leading military and political figures of 19th-century Britain, serving twice as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. He is among the commanders who won and ended the Napoleonic Wars when the Seventh Coalition defeated Napoleon at the Battle of Waterloo in 1815. Wellesley was born in Dublin into the Protestant ascendancy in Ireland. He was commissioned as an ensign in the British Army in 1787, serving in Ireland as aide-de-camp to 2 successive Lords Lieutenant of Ireland. He was also elected as a Member of Parliament in the Irish House of Commons. He was a colonel by 1796 and saw action in the Netherlands and in India, where he fought in the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War at the Battle of Seringapatam. Wellington is famous for his adaptive defensive style of warfare, resulting in several victories against numerically superior forces while minimizing his own losses. He is regarded as one of the greatest defensive commanders of all time, and many of his tactics and battle plans are still studied in military academies around the world. Wellesley was born into an aristocratic Anglo-Irish family, belonging to the Protestant ascendancy, in Ireland as the Hon. Arthur Wesley. Wellesley was born the son of Anne Wellesley, Countess of Mornington, and Garrett Wesley, 1st Earl of Mornington. Wellesley spent most of his childhood at his family's 2 homes, the first a large house in Dublin and the second Dangan Castle, 3 miles north of Summerhill in County Meath. In 1781, Arthur's father died and his eldest brother Richard inherited his father's earldom. On the 7th of March 1787, he was gazetted ensign in the 73rd Regiment of Foot. In October, with the assistance of his brother, he was assigned as aide-de-camp, on 10 shillings a day, to the new Lord Lieutenant of Ireland, Lord Buckingham. He was also transferred to the new 76th Regiment forming in Ireland, and on Christmas Day, 1787, was promoted lieutenant. Arriving in Calcutta in February 1797, he spent 5 months there, before being sent in August to a brief expedition to the Philippines, where he established a list of new hygiene precautions for his men to deal with the unfamiliar climate. Returning in November to India, he learnt that his elder brother Richard, now known as Lord Mornington, had been appointed as the new Governor-General of India. Immediately after their arrival at Seringapatam on the 5th of April 1799, the Battle of Seringapatam began and Wellesley was ordered to lead a night attack on the village of Sultanpetta, adjacent to the fortress, to clear the way for the artillery. Because of a variety of factors including the Mysorean army's strong defensive preparations, and the darkness, the attack failed with 25 casualties due to confusion among the British. Wellesley suffered a minor injury to his knee from a spent musket ball. Wellesley was in Ireland in May 1807 when he heard of the British expedition to Denmark-Norway. He decided to go, while maintaining his political appointments, and was appointed to command an infantry brigade in the Second Battle of Copenhagen, which took place in August. He fought at Koge, during which the men under his command took 1,500 prisoners, ready for battle. Wellesley left Cork on the 12th of July 1808 to participate in the war against French forces in the Iberian Peninsula, with his skills as a commander tested and developed. The Battle of Waterloo was fought on Sunday the 18th of June 1815. Near Waterloo it commenced with a diversionary attack on Hougoumont by a division of French soldiers. After a barrage of 80 cannons, the Treaty of Paris was signed on the 20th of November 1815. The Waterloo Medal was duly authorized and distributed to all ranks in 1816. Wellington entered politics again when he was appointed Master General of the Ordnance in the Tory government of Lord Liverpool on the 26th of December 1818. Along with Robert Peel, Wellington became an increasingly influential member of the Tory party, and in 1828 he resigned as Commander-in-Chief and became Prime Minister. Wellington died at Walmer Castle in Kent, his residence as Lord Warden of the Cinque Ports, and reputedly his favourite home, on the 14th of September 1852. He was found to be unwell on that morning and was helped from his campaign bed, which he had used throughout his military career, and seated in his chair where he died. His death was recorded as being due to the after effects of a stroke culminating in a series of seizures. He was aged 83. On number 4 is Taikda Shinjin. Taikda Shinjin, born on December 1, 1521, was daimyo of Kai province during the Sengoku period of Japan. Known as the Tiger of Kai, he was one of the most powerful daimyo with exceptional military prestige in the late stage of the Sengoku period. Shinjin was a warlord of great skill and military leadership. Shinjin was called Taro, a commonly used pet name for the eldest son of a Japanese family or katsuchiyo during his childhood. After his genpuku, he was given the formal name Haranabu. Taikda Shinjin was the firstborn son of Taikda Nobutora, leader of the Taikda clan, and daimyo of the province of Kai. He had been an accomplished poet in his youth. He assisted his father with the older relatives and vassals of the Taikda clan, and became quite a valuable addition to the clan at a fairly young age. In 1536, at the age of 15, he was instrumental in helping his father win the Battle of Un no Kuchai. Shinjin's first act was to gain a hold of the area around him. His goal was to conquer Shinano province. A number of the major warlords in the Shinano region marched on the border of Kai province, hoping to neutralize the power of the still young Shinjin before he had a chance to expand into their lands. However, planning to beat him down at Fuchu, they were unprepared when Taikda forces suddenly came down upon them at the Battle of Sazawa. Taking advantage of their confusion, Shinjin was able to win a quick victory, which set the stage for his drive into Shinano lands that same year and his successful siege of Yuhara. The young warlord made considerable advances into the region, conquering the Suwa clan's headquarters in the siege of Kuwabara before moving into central Shinano with the defeat of both Tozawa Yorichika and Takato Yoritsugu in the siege of Fukuyo and Battle of Ankokyuji. In 1548, Shinjin defeated Ogasawara Nagatoki in the Battle of Shiojiridoji, and then took Fukashi Castle in 1550. After conquering Shinano province, Shinjin faced another rival, Usugi Kenshin of Echigo province. The feud between them became legendary, and they faced each other on the battlefield 5 times in the battles of Kawanakajima. In 1571, Usugi Kenshin had advanced to the province of Kozuke and attacked the satellite castle of Shinjin's, Ishikura Castle. Both forces met each other in the Battle of Tongawa, but eventually disengaged after a well-fought fight. Once he entered Mikawa province, in February 1573, Shinjin besieged Noda Castle, but soon died in his siege camp. The exact circumstances surrounding his death are not known. Some accounts say he succumbed to an old war wound, and others that he died of pneumonia. He was buried at Aranjai Temple in what is now Koshu, Yamanashi. Upon Taikda Shinjin's death, Usugi Kenshin reportedly wept at the loss of one of his strongest and most deeply respected rivals. One of the most lasting tributes to Shinjin's prowess was that of Tokugawa Ieyasu himself, famous phrase Fu Rin Kazan, which means wind, forest, fire, mountain, taken from Sun Tzu's The Art of War. This phrase refers to the idea of swift as the wind, silent as a forest, fierce as fire, and immovable as a mountain. The motto applied to Shinjin's policies and his military strategy. Fifth conqueror is Hazrat Khalid bin Walid. Khalid bin Walid was a 7th century Arab military commander. He initially headed campaigns against Muhammad on behalf of the Quraysh. He later became a Muslim and spent the remainder of his career in service to Muhammad and the first 2 Rashidun caliphs, Abu Bakr and Umar. Khalid played the leading command roles in the Ridda Wars against rebel tribes in Arabia in 632 or 633, the initial campaigns in Sasanian Iraq in 633 or 634, and the conquest of Byzantine Syria in 634 or 638. As a horseman of the Quraysh's aristocratic Banu Maxim clan, which ardently opposed Muhammad, in 627 or 629, he converted to Islam in the presence of Muhammad, who inducted him as an official military commander among the Muslims and gave him the title of Saif-ullah, meaning Sword of God. During the Battle of Mu'tah, Khalid coordinated the safe withdrawal of Muslim troops against the Byzantines. He also led the Bedouins under the Muslim army during the Muslim conquest of Mecca in 629 to 630, and the Battle of Hunain in 630. After Muhammad's death, Khalid was appointed to Najd and al-Yamama with the purpose of suppressing or subjugating Arab tribes who were opposed to the nascent Muslim state. This campaign culminated in Khalid's victory over Arab rebel leaders Chaleha and Musaylama at the Battle of Buzaka in 632 and the Battle of Yamama in 633, respectively. He is generally considered by historians to be one of the most seasoned and accomplished generals of the early Islamic era, and he is likewise commemorated throughout the Arab world. Islamic tradition credits Khalid for his battlefield tactics and effective leadership of the early Muslim conquests. Khalid's father was al-Walid ibn al-Mughira, an arbitrator of local disputes in Mecca and the Hejaz. He belonged to the Banu Makhzum, a leading clan of the Quraysh tribe and Mecca's pre-Islamic aristocracy. In the year 6 Hijri or 8 Hijri, Khalid embraced Islam and Muhammad's presence alongside the Qurayshite Amr ibn al-As. Of the 6 main conflict zones in Arabia during the Ridda Wars, 2 were centered in Najd, the rebellion of the Asad, Tay and Ghatafan tribes under Chaleha, and the rebellion of the Tamim tribe led by Sajah. After Abu Bakr quashed the threat to Medina by the Ghatafan at the Battle of Dhu al-Qasa, he dispatched Khalid against the rebel tribes in Najd. Khalid was Abu Bakr's third nominee to lead the campaign after his first 2 choices. His forces were drawn from the Muhajirin and the Ansar. Throughout the campaign, Khalid demonstrated considerable operational independence and did not stringently abide by the caliph's directives. In the words of Shaban, he simply defeated whoever was there to be defeated. Khalid's terms with the Hanifa entailed the tribe's conversion to Islam and the surrender of their arms and armor and stockpiles of gold and silver. Abu Bakr ratified the treaty. The Muslim war efforts, in which Khalid played a vital part, secured Medina's dominance over the strong tribes of Arabia, which sought to diminish Islamic authority in the peninsula, and restored the nascent Muslim state's prestige. During the engagements in and around Al-Hira, Khalid received key assistance from al-Muthana ibn Haritha and his Shaban tribe, who had been raiding this frontier for a considerable period before Khalid's arrival, though it is not clear if al-Muthana's earlier activities were linked to the nascent Muslim state. After Khalid departed, he left al-Muthana in practical control of Al-Hira and its vicinity. He received similar assistance from the Sadis clan of the Dihul tribe under Qutbah ibn Qatada, and the Ale tribe under al-Madr ibn Adi during the engagements at Ubala and Walaja. He also conquered Syria. Khalid died in Medina or Homs in 21 Hijri. That's all for this video. See you soon.